Back in the day, people led very different lives. We weren't as technologically advanced, and people had slower and harder lifestyles. Most of them didn't own refrigerators, TVs, or even vehicles for that matter. But this landscape started to change quite quickly after the First World War, as fast and quick became the new norm. Economies flourished, people earned more money, and nobody really had the time to go to multiple different stores to pick up their bread and milk. 7-Eleven, founded by the Thompson family, revolutionized the face of retail itself and arguably solved the problem of people store hopping. If you haven't heard of them, you're extremely unlucky and probably live under a rock. But how did they make a brand that is almost universally recognizable? Watch more to find out. Chapter 1: How it all started. In 1927, when people didn't own electric refrigerators, Southland Ice sold large frozen water blocks to people. These blocks would often be used for mundane things like keep vegetables fresh overnight. Based in Dallas, Texas, Southland owned many manufacturing plants for making ice blocks to sell at standalone outlets. A very observant and popular employee of the company, Uncle Johnny Green, noticed that people who visited their stores often ran out of basic household staples and had to go to many stores to get them. To solve this issue, he began selling various groceries such as bread, eggs, and milk from his ice house. People loved the idea, and almost instantly, the store was popular. The success of this idea was soon noticed by the Southland Corporation owner, a man named Joe Thompson. He saw that all the ice houses of his company followed the same business model as Uncle Johnny's. At this time, they owned 8 ice making plants and 21 outlets selling them. As people found out more about this new service, they started to frequent the ice houses for even their general needs. Due to the post-war boom, people had work but had very little time, making the time just right for Southland to start this new retailing form. Within a decade, 60 more retail docks were added to the company's list. In 1928, Southland added gasoline to the list of products they sold to serve the growing number of car owners, and I must say it worked out pretty well. People now started traveling from miles away to these unique stores to avail themselves of the one-stop shop service. Think about it. You buy some stuff to make dinner, get some ice to keep the leftovers fresh, and some gas to fill up your car, all at the same place. Sounds like a good deal if you ask me. Southland also took advantage of the fact that alcohol prohibition was finally repealed and they started selling beer and liquor. This boosted the sales by a lot, giving the company a strong financial backbone. Chapter 2: Changing Face. Soon Joe Thompson, the founder of the company, realized the potential that this new business model held. Customers would often come to tote their purchases away, giving birth to the perfect idea. Joe started to market his stores as Totem stores. Soon, multiple stores had Alaskan totem poles out front to symbolize the shift in their business model. But this wasn't enough. Joe also decided to change up the timings of the stores. Southland would now stay open from 7 in the morning to 11 at night, which also happened to be their shiny new brand, thus giving the official birth of 7-Eleven the iconic chain name we know today. It just so happened that a football game was being held at Austin University around this time, and a convenience store next door had to stay open all night to accommodate the massive rush of customers. This boosted sales to a new level, and Joe started to consider the thought, maybe 7-Eleven should stay open all day and night. Many stores around the country went ahead with the proposal and started running round the clock. At this time, Joe had not only created a brand new industry of his own, but had also combined many that already existed. The neighborhood 7-Eleven was now the gas station, the mom-and-pop grocery store, the dairy, and the supermarket all in one place. While the major credit for the initial idea goes to Uncle Johnny, the company's helm was handled very well by Joe Thompson. He was an astute businessman and knew the financial situation of the country well. His work in leading 7-Eleven to success earned him the praise from Harvard Business School. It was around the same time the brand was renamed, and Joe decided to start franchises across the East Coast, opening stores in places like Florida, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and more. Joe also knew that a brand identity needed original innovation and could not become iconic by merely combining what others already served. And so, a bunch of authentic 7-Eleven products like the Slurpee, an icy cold beverage that could be picked up while shopping during a hot day, was born. They serve on-the-go coffee for the cold weather, hot dogs for those craving a bite. They also created the Big Gulp Cup, a giant 1-liter cup to serve fountain drinks, and was the first chain to popularize self-service ATMs. All these original concepts became what 7-Eleven was known and recognized for, and it gave them an authenticity that only drove their sales higher and higher. Chapter 3: Asian Expansion. Today, more than anything, 7-Eleven is associated with tourism, in particular, Asian tourism. Why? Well, if you have ever been to any remotely crowded town in Japan, Thailand, or any major Asian country for that matter, you may notice a 7-Eleven at every single corner. How did they make such an inroads into Asia? This began in 1973, almost 10 years after Joe's son, John Thompson, took over the reins. That year, 7-Eleven licensed a Japanese affiliate to open up outlets in the country. Apart from Asia, they also signed contracts to open franchises in Mexico and other parts of the world. By 1974, over 5,000 stores had opened up worldwide. During the 1980s, corporate raiders made many attempts to take over the company by buying out a significant portion of the stock. To retain ownership, the Thompson family took the company private in a leveraged buyout in 1987. While this helped keep the company in trusted hands for a short time, money was scarce, and 7-Eleven went bankrupt for the second time since the Great Depression in 1990. Finally, to end the problems, over 70% of the company was bought out by Iko-Yokado Co., a Japanese retailer, and 7-Eleven Japan, its Japanese affiliate. This buyout took out the Thompson company from the reins for the first time since its inception, and was now almost wholly owned by a Japanese company. The acquisition's effect is still clearly seen today. 7-Eleven is generally recognized as an Asian brand by most people. Its specialties and products all have a unique Japanese touch to it. Whatever be the case, it's undeniable that 7-Eleven transformed and revolutionized several sectors while creating one of its own, the convenience retailing industry. What do you think about 7-Eleven? Subscribe so that you don't miss updates, comment down below, and leave a like. See you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithm, so more people can see our videos and so that you can be notified when we launch our next video. We try and put out at least one new one per week, and as you can imagine, the research and editing alone of these type of videos takes us close to 18 hours. So we would really appreciate it if you could also check out our Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can support our work. We produce over 12 videos per month, so that is literally 8 cents per video. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at our next unmasking.